who show the promise to be those citizens without borders. I'm ready.
And how they therefore promise to transform our economic systems in radical ways.
Again, and I can absolutely promise you from long personal experience in every direction.
Sometimes just small. The plays got better, I promise, because our imagination.
But behind every principle is a promise. And some of you in your life,
the way in which we're doing things no longer fits with what we promise our students.
Much promise in the future. The other bucket that
to something that will impact you for the next 80 years. So promise me that you understand that the land.
You'll be happy you hung in. I can promise you that. That you had the guts to look past the.
Her dedication to the expedition never wavered, and I made a promise to carry out her final journey.
The promise of Precision Public Health is to bring these two.
So rather than holding out the promise of free college, which wasn't really free, it was going to be paid.
The challenges that we face. The promise they hold. The young farmer in Senegal. It's a solemn promise that we make to each other, and it is binding.
And the promise that it just might change the world. Thank you.
Because in the end, that's always been the promise of America. And that's what I'll keep working for.
For me, I promise you, I will not rest until every cage.
But I promise you, it is an absolute superpower when it comes to turbocharging your.
Here, I can promise you that. And there's 100 of these for every touristy Stonehenge surrounded by tour buses and port. Whole career with this promise. Your friend got it who retired 10 years ago, but you got to work 5 more years.
every 90 hours now, Pencils of Promise builds a new classroom.
So the promise of this technology is that if everyone...
I'll promise that the people who come audition, I'll convince them to buy buffets.
Last year, we promised a pretty bombastic promise. And that was that we were going to buy...
There's history behind this. We've got to take a note of this. This is reference made to a promise that God made with the fathers.
They promise him. The Old Testament, Christ is...
For them to be successful in fulfilling on the brand's promise. And some companies do it better.
If you'll make Jesus the Lord of your life, then I promise you, you're going to learn.
Today is an extension of that promise I made to him. I remember almost 15...
The first promise in the New Testament of the rapture of the church given by
instruction. And with 1.0, we wanted to show the web component promise was
darkness from the prison. There's a messianic promise that the Messiah would take salvation to the nations. Another one of those is in
the fulfillment of the great promise that he had made to their father.
I plan on building a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I was actually like, wow, yeah, the dedication.
Heartland Payment Systems.